Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. In the 1970s, the Americans started a little test, or they started to screw themselves as a society more than ever. That's when the downfall, I would say, of the American culture started to take a dump. So, one of these movements and policies was called the self-esteem movement, which is you have to build self-esteem to people who should not have them. According to my definition, they should not have it. You should not have a high self-esteem if you did not accomplish anything. Because self-esteem is a resultant of winning, of success. If you failed all the time, you should not have self-esteem, because that is a false self-esteem. That is a delusional self-esteem. That is, you think you're good when actually all or most of your actions in the past prove that you are not what you say you are. It doesn't mean you should not continue. It doesn't mean you should dig your grave and jump in it, and you know what I mean? No. But the movement was everybody or everyone gets a trophy. That is the self-esteem movement in the United States of America. That is, we have 100 competitors, they're all going to get a trophy. And we might not mention who the real winner is. In American schools, it's the same. You don't know the grades of others, you know only your grade most of the time. That is, not embarrass other people saying, maybe I should study more because he's got a better grade than I am. Well, study. No, they say you're all good. Or they don't point out, they don't single out, there's another word, don't single out. Instead of singling out and saying, you know what, and out of shame, people will start maybe working harder, studying harder, out of shame. My point is, you should not have self-esteem if you did not accomplish anything. Or you were failing all the time. You can say, well, remember that guy, his name was Abraham Lincoln, I think? Was he the one? Or it was George Washington, one of these guys that this guy's given as an example. He failed all the time, but then he became the US president. Well, I don't know if that's a quality. Let's start with that one. That's debatable. So why did I start with this little monologue here? It's because the United States of America is a semi-bankrupt country, working in deficit. That means spends more than it produces. And it has a bad credit rating. That means a bad payer. Now, if you as an individual will be America, you would not have a house, you would probably not get a loan, you would be a person who you would be called a negative credit individual, person untrustworthy, not trustworthy. So what do we have here? We have the United States of America threatening again sanctions against Russia and everybody else. This is not a symptom of we are more moral than everybody else. It's because I think a symptom of our failure. Therefore, we have to do something in order to boost our self-esteem that I don't think we should still have it. So that's the first topic of this video. And the other one is the Moody's downgrades US credit rating. And not from AAA or fantastic to something that you won't like it. That tells you the country overall, the economy is bad. As a creditor, nobody will give you anything, but it's okay. We got the weapons. We're going to make them type some numbers for us. Or we're just going to print our own money. Remember, we print our own money. Other countries print for them the money. Why is that? Have you ever asked yourselves? I will make a video on that probably today. So let's start with the first topic. Russia today. Trump threatens Russia with crushing sanctions. Now, if you start with from the premises that United States of America, United States right here, is it's a semi-bankrupt country. Let's not call it bankrupt after the big crash in the 30s. No. Depression and so on. These guys are threatening Russia. Is Russia working, its economy is in a deficit? Did you look at Russia's public debt as a creditor? Did you look at its rating? You look at it, compare with these guys. Did you look at Russia's gold reserves as a country? All right, let's read what this guy is saying. The US president said he will impose new restrictions if Moscow fails to reach a peace deal with Kiev. Are you going to do the same thing to Kiev? This is assuming that Russia doesn't want to. But why do you assume that? Is there evidence to suggest that maybe these guys don't want to do that? So why would this guy, let's say in Kiev, agree to negotiate in good faith with Moscow if they know that Trump will then impose sanctions on Russia? So if I'm over here, he's my enemy, and this guy says he's going to impose sanctions on that, I'm not going to make a deal ever. Ever. Unless the other guy agrees to everything. That's a blackmail. I'm going to smack you if you don't do this. That's it. A threat, a blackmail, however you want to call it. So remember, the Ukrainians will never agree to anything from now on, because that guy says if they do not agree, I will impose sanctions on these guys. So what does it tell you? These guys will say, okay, thank you very much, we will never agree. Never. Why? Because we're not going to have a peace, you're going to get upset, impatient, and then you're going to impose sanctions on Russia. Isn't that what we wanted? I'm talking about with the guys in Ukraine. So, and besides, your economy is not as good. You screw yourself. But nevertheless, we'll see what comes out of this. In the meantime, Russia Today, from the 17th of May. Billions were being pissed away on Ukraine aid, Trump says. The US president has once again called Vladimir Zelensky the greatest salesman in the world. And this is what he says. In an interview aired Friday, Fox News host Brett Baier asked Trump whether he believes Russian President Vladimir Putin is an obstacle to peace between Moscow and Kiev. Trump instead directed criticism at Ukrainian leader Vladimir Zelensky, which I made a video a minute ago regarding that. And he said he went on to slam the aid sent to Kiev by his predecessor, former President Joe Biden. The money is the money, I'm quoting. What bothered me, I hated to see the way it was, pissed away. I hated to see the checks for $60 billion. Trump said, I think Zelensky is the greatest salesman in the world, far better than me. He comes to Washington, he walks out with $100 million every time. Congress is very upset about it. They're saying, where is all this money going? Okay, shrinking over time. Let me tell you this. When he says that Zelensky is the greatest salesman, it's because he's allowed to be. Remember, and I want you to look into this. Don't trust anything I say. I just want you to look into it, because you're gonna learn. I mean, you can hate me, but get the information. I want you to do your little homework, which is this. When you're gonna hear, oh, Mr. Bernstein, the wolf of Wall Street, let's make it, or this expert in the Wall Street, these guys who are so smart with the money, you know who I'm talking about? So smart with the money, and they're just good, man, they're very intelligent. I will give you Zelensky as the example how possibly these guys are so good with the money, and that is information, working together. Zelensky, when he came to wherever in Washington, D.C., it was not he persuading. It was the guys in the United States of America persuading for him. That's how it was. So Zelensky appears to be the greatest salesman in a rigged system. Zelensky did not have to convince anybody because his people were already in the United States of America to make the deals for him. He just got the bags and left. That's what Zelensky did. But with Trump likes, no, I don't want that. And he was very surprised, Zelensky, that his buddies behind the scenes did not fix things for him. That's how Zelensky is the greatest salesman. The same when you hear, oh, this is the greatest guru. I read some articles. I have so many names ready for you. This is the guru of Wall Street. Thing is going to be a depression. This billionaire, this is a multi-billionaire. How? I remember when someone, I can't name the name of the person who said that information they should not have. Political into the Wall Street, for instance. Do you think that these guys are so smart and they make the investments like let's say I get a little piece of information from the White House 2 days prior to White House bombing Iran. Don't you think I will be a multi-millionaire or possibly billionaire if I get the money to invest in 48 hours? I will be, all of a sudden everybody will say, Emil got it right. Wow, he's a genius. No, I had the previous information that you didn't have. And I knew what to drop of my stocks and I knew what to buy out of my stocks. And I got all the loans possible and I invested over there wherever I felt like. And when the thing happened, American government will bomb Iran, the stock market will do this, and that's how I became a multi-billionaire if I invested a few millions. Got it? So the same with Zelensky. Zelensky was not a salesman. He came over there, the people behind him pulled the strings, and everybody said, yes, give Zelensky. Yes, give Zelensky. I mean, you don't believe me? Just look at them. I want you to look at the names. That's all. You start with the names. And you're always going to find them there. Like you find them right now. You find them everywhere. Vitkov is right there. He's negotiating between Zelensky Stein and Putin, the European and the Bazaar guy. How is that possible? And besides, Vitkov, he's the Middle East envoy. Neither Russia nor Ukraine are in the Middle East. Okay, who's the Commerce Minister, Secretary? Go and check him out. He's with Trump. He went to Saudi Arabia. Mohammed bin Salman. Go and see his face. Go and read his past. I'm giving you homework. And then you say, yes, just a coincidence. Keep looking. Wait. I'm not going to go into Federal Reserve Bank and others. So this is with the big salesman. In the meantime, when Trump is upset with the money now, $60 billion or $200 billion given to Ukraine, to Zelensky, means shit compared with $1.3 trillion in deficit, trade deficit, or whatever it is. The deficit is look at the debt and see how much it is. Look at the deficit. It's nothing. We say, oh my God, we gave the Ukrainians 200 billions. My problem is they don't have the, when you ask, how come the roads are shitty? The infrastructure. We don't have the money. No, we don't have the money. But you have 200 billion to give the dead baboon? Yeah, because he's a salesman. No, that's not what it is. That's not what it is. So again, let's look at this country that threatens everybody, but unfortunately prints its own money, okay? And it's owned by 12 private banks. Federal Reserve Bank sets the tone. Please, my friends, we are owned here. In the meantime, Sputnik. Moody's downgrades U.S. credit rating. That means bad payer, but hey, we sanction everybody. We're the best. We're the best. The Moody's rating agency said on Friday that it has downgraded the long-term issuer and senior unsecured ratings of the United States government from AAA to AA1 and changed, this is important, look at this term, and change the outlook from stable to negative. You got it? To negative. You won't receive anything. Negative. And this is the country that threatens everybody with economy. I wonder where China is. And besides, let me tell you this. I'm going to give you this. I personally, in my life, I'm going to share something with you. In my life, I don't need a credit. Zero credit. I don't need a credit. I don't ask anybody for anything. Why? Because I have enough. I have enough and I will have enough for a few lives from now on. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying. I don't care how my credit score is because I don't use it. I'm not going to go to the bank until I die or I come back to life with samsara, with reincarnation or whatever these guys are, blah, 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 blah. Okay? I'm still going to have money for that. Therefore, I don't care what the credit score is for me. By the way, it's a good credit score. But nevertheless, I don't need it. Why is the United States of America doesn't have a good credit score? Or at least say, I don't care about the credit score. I don't care. I'm so strong. I'm so wealthy. I'm working in a profit, big profit. I don't need you, banks. I don't need you. Die. But no, the United States of America is, oh my God, we're at the negative. Ooh, what are we going to do? Now, if we are in the negative over there, from stable to negative, that tells me that we are not people of honor. We are in a system and we don't do it right. Either you get out of the system and say we don't care, zero, get us out, We don't gonna get any loans from now on because we produce everything and we're good enough. Not produce everything, we're good enough. They're not saying that. They're negative. So that tells you this country is not only economically going down slowly as a big Titanic. Even though Titanic sank in 2 hours or something. So big but heavy. So then, slowly going down. And Trump talks about, the $60 billion we gave to the Ukrainians. $60 billion is after you eat. That's what it is, $60 billion. Not even that, compared with 3 meals a day. So that's why, leave me alone. My point is this. We still have the self-esteem. We're the greatest. Yeah, the biggest economy in the world. Yeah, but if we're the biggest economy in the world, how in the hell we have the biggest as the number deficit, the biggest public debt, the negative rating? How are these telling you about the greatest economy? That tells me somewhere is a diluted self-esteem, false self-esteem. Somewhere something will break and will show us reality. As a citizen, you don't like what I'm saying? You don't have to like it. I hope it doesn't happen. Look what we did. Do you think that Trump discusses with Putin now because Trump is a good-hearted? He realizes that they can't beat those guys in conventional war unless they go full force. And if they go full force, that means the other guys are going to use nuclear weapons. You're unbeatable. You are unbeatable. That's why they don't do anything to North Korea. That's why countries get nuclear weapons. They are safe. Oh, sanctions. The North Koreans are still there. To mention Pakistan, India, nobody gave them the right to have nuclear. Don't mention Israel. And they're just fine. Yeah, Israel is not sanctioned by America. Everybody else is. Anyway, so they realized on the military how strong we are. And then on the economics, look what they did with China. We're going to impose tariffs on everybody. And then they realized half of them, 50% said, no, there's too many. I can't beat them. So then I said, I'm going to postpone the fight that I started with these guys, which I agree with that. I agree to be equal. I agree with that. And each country should protect its own products, which is going to be an imbalance at one point. But my point is, I want to show that these guys in essence of America realized and showed the whole world the economic power of US was not capable of taking on everybody in the same time. But said, you can say smart. Yeah, smart because he realizes is weak. And said, no, I postpone you for humanitarian reasons. Give you time to think until I crush China. One country. And he went to crush China, didn't crush China, everybody saw. So now I wonder when he comes back to deal with the half of the world, those guys are going to say, we're not going to talk to you. By the way, we're part of BRICS right now. What are you going to do? I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to try a regime change, some military bombardments. You're going to find some irregularities, international law, or some, discrimination somewhere. My point is, wake up. This is a false self-esteem. And it shows. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.